The vast emptiness of space held its breath as the human warship, Thunder, drifted silently through the asteroid belt of the Proxima Centauri system. Captain James Miller stood at the bridge, his weathered face reflecting the dim glow of tactical displays. It was humanity's first venture this far into space, and they had chosen their most advanced warship for the mission. "Sir, unknown signals approaching from Sector 7, reported Tom, the sensor officer. His voice carried the tension that had built up over their 3-month journey. The bridge crew watched as multiple dots appeared on their screens. First 1, then 3, then 12 alien vessels emerged from behind the larger asteroids. Their ships looked like giant silver diamonds, gleaming under the distant starlight. "Open communications," ordered Miller, straightening his uniform. This was it, humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. Years of training had prepared them for this moment, or so they thought. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, blue-skinned alien. Its 4 eyes blinked in sequence as it observed the human crew. "You have entered Galactic Alliance space," it announced in perfect English, having already decoded their language from their broadcast signals. "Your species is unknown to us. Identify yourselves." Miller stepped forward. "I am Captain James Miller of the Earth Defense Force warship Thunder. We come in peace, seeking diplomatic relations with other civilizations." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "A warship? For a diplomatic mission?" Its voice carried a note of disbelief. "Our scans indicate your vessel possesses weapons we've never encountered. Primitive, yet concerning. Standard protocol for deep space exploration," Miller explained calmly. "We need to defend ourselves against any hostile dash." Silence. The alien commander's skin darkened. "The Galactic Alliance has maintained peace for 10,000 years by preventing primitive species from bringing their violence to the stars. Your kind clearly cannot be trusted. You will surrender your vessel for dismantling." Miller's jaw tightened. "With all due respect, we have the right to defend ourselves. We won't surrender our only way home." "Then you leave us no choice." The communication cut off abruptly. The alien ships moved into attack formation. Their weapons charged, creating a beautiful but deadly light show against the backdrop of space. "They're targeting our engines," Tom announced, his fingers flying over the controls. Multiple energy signatures detected. Miller took a deep breath. He had hoped for peace, but humanity had learned long ago to prepare for the worst. "Battle stations," he ordered quietly. "Show them why they should have chosen diplomacy." The Thunder's advanced shield systems hummed to life, technology the aliens had dismissed as primitive. But humanity had learned to be clever, to think differently. While the Galactic Alliance had focused on energy weapons and sleek designs, humans had perfected kinetic weapons, practical armor, and unconventional tactics. As the first alien energy beams struck the Thunder's shields, Miller allowed himself a grim smile. The real nightmare for the Galactic Alliance wasn't that humans had come to the stars in a warship. The nightmare was that they had come prepared. Little did the Alliance know, this encounter would change the galaxy forever, and the Thunder was about to teach them their first lesson in underestimating humanity. The alien commander's face showed pure shock as his energy weapons dissipated harmlessly against the Thunder's shields. No primitive species had ever withstood their first volley. The human warship hung in space, its dark hull absorbing the rainbow of energy beams like a black hole swallowing light. "Status report," Miller commanded, standing firm as the ship shuddered under the assault. "Shields holding at 92%, sir," replied Mark from the engineering station. "Their weapons are powerful, but our dispersal technology is handling it well." Miller nodded. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this possibility, studying the strange signals from deep space. They had developed their defenses assuming the worst, that any aliens they met might be hostile. Now, that paranoia was paying off. Show them what a primitive species can do, Miller ordered. Tactical, prepare the railguns. Engineering, divert power to the magnetic accelerators. The Thunder's response was devastating in its simplicity. Instead of energy beams, it launched massive tungsten rods at a significant fraction of light speed. The alien ships, accustomed to deflecting energy weapons, had no defense against such basic physics. The first rod struck the nearest alien vessel, punching through its sophisticated shields like they weren't there. The impact split the diamond-shaped craft in half, its crystalline structure shattering in a spectacular display. By the stars! The alien commander's voice crackled through their comm system. What kind of barbaric weapons are these? Just simple kinetic force, Miller replied calmly. Sometimes the old ways work best. Stand down, and we can still talk. Instead, the alien fleet scattered, trying to surround the Thunder. Their formation was perfect, their movements synchronized by advanced AI systems. But they had never faced an enemy who thought like humans. They're trying to box us in, Tom observed from his station. Standard encirclement pattern. Miller smiled. Release the drones. Dozens of small, unmanned craft burst from the Thunder's launch bays. Unlike the elegant alien ships, these were ugly, practical things, barely more than engines, sensors, and weapons. The alien fleet's coordinated movements suddenly became a liability as the drones darted between their ships, disrupting their carefully planned maneuvers. Their shields are optimized for energy weapons. Mark reported. They have to choose between defending against our railguns or our drones. They can't do both. The space around them turned into chaos. The alien ship's energy weapons were devastating but predictable. The Thunder's combination of primitive ballistic weapons and swarm tactics forced them to constantly adapt, something their rigid military doctrine hadn't prepared them for. 2 more alien ships fell to railgun strikes. A third spun out of control, its engines crippled by drone attacks. The remaining vessels began to retreat, their perfect formation broken. Sir, Tom called out, I'm detecting quantum communications between their ships and something big jumping in from hyperspace. They're calling for reinforcements. Miller took a moment to consider their options. The Thunder could escape now, they had proven their point. But retreat would lead these aliens straight to Earth, and humanity wasn't ready for a full-scale war. Plot an intercept course with their quantum communications relay, he ordered. If we can disrupt their ability to call for help, we might be able to force a real diplomatic solution. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, understanding the stakes. This wasn't just about one battle anymore. The outcome of this fight would determine humanity's place among the stars. As the Thunder moved to engage the remaining alien ships, Miller thought about the irony of the situation. The Galactic Alliance had dismissed them as primitives, but their own technological arrogance had become their weakness. Sometimes, the simplest solutions were the most effective. The real question was, what would the Alliance send as reinforcements, and would humanity's preparations be enough for what came next? The fabric of space twisted as a massive portal opened, its edges rippling with quantum energy. Through this tear in reality emerged the Alliance's response, a dreadnought-class vessel that dwarfed the Thunder. Unlike the diamond-shaped ships they'd faced before, this one resembled a giant spear, its hull gleaming with embedded energy weapons. That's their idea of reinforcements? Miller asked, studying the tactical display. One ship? Sir, Tom's voice was tense, that single ship has more firepower than the entire fleet we just fought. Energy readings are off the charts. The massive alien vessel's commander appeared on their screen. This one was different, red-skinned, with 6 eyes arranged in a circle. I am High Commander Rex of the Alliance First Response Fleet. Your resistance has upgraded your species' threat level. Surrender now, or be atomized. Miller noticed something interesting, they'd sent their best ship, but not a fleet. The Alliance was powerful, but perhaps their resources weren't as unlimited as they wanted humanity to believe. "Launch observation drones," Miller ordered quietly. "Let's see what this beast can do." The dreadnought's response was immediate and overwhelming. Beams of pure energy lashed out, vaporizing the drones instantly. But Miller had expected this. The drones were decoys, carrying sensors that mapped the enemy's weapon coverage. "Analysis complete," Mark reported. "They've got energy weapons covering every angle, except directly behind their engine exhaust. The heat and radiation from their drive creates a blind spot in their defenses." Miller nodded. It was a common human military principle: no defense was perfect. The bigger and more complex the system, the more likely it had exploitable weaknesses. "All hands, prepare for tactical maneuver Delta 7, Miller commanded. This was a move they'd practiced but never executed in real combat. It would push the Thunder's systems to their limits. The human warship suddenly cut all power, appearing dead in space. Their shield bubble collapsed, and even life support went dark. In the freezing bridge, illuminated only by emergency lighting, Miller counted the seconds. "They're powering up their main weapon," Tom reported, his breath visible in the cold air. "Some kind of concentrated plasma beam." The Alliance dreadnought's front began to glow, gathering energy for what they surely thought would be a killing blow. That's when the Thunder made its move. Using only maneuvering thrusters, the human ship initiated a controlled tumble. To the aliens, it would look like their target was breaking apart. But each rotation was precisely calculated. "All power to rear shields and railguns on my mark," Miller ordered. The dreadnought fired its massive plasma weapon, and the Thunder's tumble carried it perfectly underneath the beam. In that same moment, their engines roared back to life, pushing them into the exhaust wake of the massive alien ship. Now, the Thunder's railguns fired point-blank into the dreadnought's engine housing. The tungsten rods, accelerated to near-relativistic speeds, punched through the unshielded sections. The effect was catastrophic. Secondary explosions rippled through the massive vessel as its power systems overloaded. The proud Alliance flagship began to list to one side, its engine core breached. "Impossible." High Commander Rex's image flickered on their screen. You're nothing but primitives. How did you?" "We learned long ago not to build weapons too big to protect properly," Miller replied. "Now, about those diplomatic relations we mentioned earlier." But before negotiations could begin, space itself seemed to tear open again. This time, dozens of portals appeared, each one larger than the last. "Multiple quantum signatures," Tom announced, his voice steady despite the implications. "Sir, I think we just got the Alliance's full attention." Miller straightened in his chair. The Thunder had bloodied the Alliance's nose and shown humanity could stand up to their best ship. But now the real battle was about to begin. As massive fleets began emerging from the portals, Miller realized that humanity's first interstellar war wasn't just possible, it was inevitable. The only question was, could one human warship hold out long enough for Earth to prepare? Hundreds of Alliance warships filled the space around the Thunder, their hulls gleaming with deadly promise. The quantum portals snapped shut behind them, leaving no route for escape. At the center of the human bridge, Captain Miller remained calm, his mind racing through options. "Count?" he asked, his voice steady. 327 vessels, sir," Tom replied. "Mix of capital ships and support craft. They're forming a sphere around us, no gaps this time." The main screen lit up with multiple alien commanders, each representing a different battle group. Their features varied, some blue, some red, some with tentacles, others with crystalline growths, but all wore the same expression of cold determination. "Your species has proven more dangerous than anticipated," one of them spoke, its voice translated through their systems. "The Alliance Council has authorized the use of total force. Your destruction will serve as a warning to other primitive races who dare to resist our guidance." Miller looked at his crew. They all knew this might be their last stand, but not a single face showed fear. They had trained for this, prepared for this, and they would face it together. "Launch the beacon," Miller ordered quietly. A small, innocuous probe shot from the Thunder's rear, immediately cloaked by their most advanced stealth technology. Its mission was simple but crucial: return to Earth with the data from their battles, ensuring humanity would know what they faced. "All weapons, prepare for dispersal pattern Omega," Miller commanded. "Engineering, divert all power to weapons and forward shields. We're not here to survive, we're here to teach them a lesson they'll never forget." The Thunder's hull began to split apart, panels shifting to reveal hidden weapon ports. The ship had been designed with this last resort configuration in mind, a flower of death blossoming in space. "Sir," Mark called from engineering, initiating core overload sequences. "We'll have 15 minutes at full power before critical failure." The Alliance fleet opened fire, their energy weapons creating a dazzling web of destruction. But the Thunder was already moving, its shape-shifted form allowing it to roll and twist through the barrage in ways its original configuration never could. "Multiple targets locked," Tom reported. "Railguns charged. All drones armed with antimatter payloads." Miller's expression hardened. "Let's show them why you should never corner a human. Fire everything." The Thunder unleashed hell. Railguns thundered, launching their deadly cargo at dozens of targets simultaneously. Swarms of drones, each carrying a minute amount of antimatter, darted between enemy ships. The Alliance fleet's perfect formation became their weakness as explosions chained from ship to ship. "Their shields are adapting," Tom warned. "They're learning from each hit." "Switch to acoustic weapons," Miller ordered. The Thunder's human engineers had developed weapons that used sound waves in space, transmitted through the enemy's own shield bubbles. The Alliance ships began to shake apart from the inside, their crews incapacitated by frequencies humans had evolved to withstand. But the Alliance's numbers were telling. Despite losing dozens of ships, their return fire was overwhelming. The Thunder's shields began to fail, section by section. "Core at critical levels," Mark shouted over the sound of failing systems. 5 minutes until overload." Miller watched as his ship, humanity's finest achievement, began to break apart under the onslaught. But they had accomplished their mission. The beacon was away, carrying vital data about Alliance weapons and tactics. And they had proven something crucial: humanity could hurt them. "Send our final transmission," Miller ordered, as emergency force fields snapped into place around the bridge. "Let them hear this." His voice, steady and proud, broadcast on all frequencies: "You thought we were primitives, but we've destroyed a quarter of your fleet. You think this is a victory? This is just the beginning. Humanity knows you exist now. We know you can bleed. And we're coming for you." As the Thunder's core reached critical levels, its final act was to trigger every remaining antimatter drone simultaneously. The resulting explosion created a new star in the Proxima Centauri system, one that would burn as a testament to humanity's defiance. The Alliance had won this battle. But as the beacon sped toward Earth, carrying the secrets of their weapons and tactics, they would soon learn that they had merely awakened a sleeping giant. The Alliance Council chamber fell into stunned silence as the battle footage ended. The massive circular room, filled with representatives from 1,000 worlds, had just witnessed the complete recording of their fleet's encounter with the Thunder. The images of their ships being torn apart by primitive weapons still burned in their minds. "Impossible," whispered the High Counselor, his crystalline form dimming with concern. "One ship. One single human ship destroyed 82 of our finest vessels before falling." The military advisor, still bearing burns from the battle, stepped forward. "The cost of victory was too high. Our fleet's morale is shattered. They've never seen such. Savagery, suggested another counselor. Determination? Or perhaps, innovation? Emergency alarms suddenly blared through the chamber. On the massive central display, a signal appeared. The Thunder's beacon had reached its destination. Earth was now receiving everything: battle tactics, shield frequencies, weapon capabilities. All the data the human ship had collected during its final stand. They sacrificed themselves, the military advisor realized aloud. The entire battle was a test, a probe of our capabilities. Even in death, they were gathering intelligence. New images flashed across the screen: human satellites detecting the beacon's arrival, Earth's defense platforms activating, massive construction projects launching in their asteroid belt. Humanity was preparing for war. Our analysis of their world is troubling, reported the intelligence director, her tentacles nervously adjusting her display. They have something we've never encountered before: thousands of different military doctrines, countless combat techniques, an endless drive to improve their weapons. Their entertainment media is filled with scenarios of alien invasion. They've been preparing for this possibility for over a century. The council watched as more data poured in. Humans weren't just building weapons, they were adapting Alliance technology seen in the battle, improving it, combining it with their own primitive designs. The Thunder's sacrifice had given them a technological leap of centuries. Most concerning, the intelligence director continued, is their response to loss. Other species become cautious after defeat. Humans, they become more aggressive. More determined. The Thunder's crew are being hailed as heroes, martyrs whose sacrifice will be avenged. In Earth's shipyards, vessels were already under construction. Unlike the elegant Alliance designs, these were brutal, practical things. Warships built with the Thunder's last battle in mind, incorporating both kinetic and energy weapons, layered defenses, and swarm tactics that had proved so effective. We could strike now, suggested the military advisor. Before they can fully prepare. No, the High Counselor's voice was firm. The Thunder was just one ship, operating on its own, with no support. Imagine what they could do with a fleet, with proper logistics, with the full industrial might of their world behind them. We haven't faced a species like this in 10,000 years. The intelligence director's next report made the situation even clearer. They're not just building ships. They're reaching out to other, primitive, species we've quarantined. Sharing the Thunder's data, offering alliances. 3 systems have already pledged support, seeing humanity as liberators from our guidance. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some called for immediate action, others for diplomacy, a few even suggested accepting humans as equals. But they all knew one truth: the galaxy had changed forever. In Earth's orbit, the first of the new warships was nearing completion. Its name was painted proudly on the hull, Thunder's Echo. It was larger than its predecessor, better armed, better armored, and it wasn't alone. Dozens more were under construction, each incorporating lessons learned from the Thunder's last battle. The Alliance had thought one human warship was a manageable threat. Now they faced the prospect of hundreds, crewed by a species that had already proven they could go toe-to-toe with the best the galaxy could offer. The Thunder was gone, but its echo would shake the stars themselves. 6 months after the Thunder's last stand, Earth's orbital shipyards hummed with activity. The massive construction facility stretched for kilometers, its skeletal framework housing dozens of warships in various stages of completion. At the center of this industrial ballet stood the flagship of humanity's new fleet, the Thunder's Echo. Admiral Robert Kane, formerly a bridge officer on the Thunder's early test flights, stood at the viewing window of the command station. Below him, workers in space suits swarmed over the Echo's hull like busy ants, installing the final weapon systems. "Status report," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's future. "Thunder's Echo will be ready for launch in 48 hours, replied Lisa from the engineering station. The first wave of support ships is already operational. The Alliance won't know what hit them. The Echo was everything the Thunder had been and more. Its hull incorporated crystalline lattices reverse-engineered from Alliance armor. Its weapons combined human kinetic innovation with captured energy technology. But most importantly, it carried the spirit of its predecessor, humanity's determination to prove they belonged among the stars. "Message from ground control," announced the communications officer. "The diplomatic delegation from the Centauri Alliance has arrived." Kane smiled grimly. After the Thunder's battle, 3 alien species previously suppressed by the Alliance had reached out to Earth. They brought their own technologies, their own grievances, and their own desire for freedom. Together, they formed the Centauri Alliance, a coalition of primitive species united against Alliance dominance. In the main conference room, representatives from these species gathered around a holographic display of the Thunder's final battle. The green-skinned Verdani, experts in biological technology. The silicon-based crystallites, masters of quantum computing. The ethereal nebulans, with their understanding of dark energy. Each had suffered under Alliance control, deemed too violent or unpredictable for full galactic citizenship. "The Alliance fleet is massing at these coordinates," reported the Verdani ambassador, her leaf-like hair rustling with concern. "They're preparing for a full-scale invasion of human space." Kane activated the tactical display. "Let them come. Thanks to the Thunder's data, we know their weaknesses. Thanks to our new allies, we have the technology to exploit them. And thanks to human innovation, we have surprises they can't imagine." The display showed the full extent of humanity's preparation. Asteroid bases converted into fortresses. Gas giant mining stations transformed into repair docks. And most importantly, the combined fleet of the Centauri Alliance, ships of human, Verdani, crystallite, and nebulan design, each incorporating lessons learned from the Thunder's sacrifice. "The Alliance thinks they're facing one primitive species," Kane continued. "Instead, they'll face all of us. Their own arrogance has created their worst nightmare, a coalition of species they dismissed as inferior, armed with their own technology, and led by humans who've proven we can beat them." A junior officer rushed into the room. "Sir. Long-range sensors detect quantum portal formations. The Alliance fleet, they're coming early." Kane straightened his uniform, channeling the same determination that Captain Miller had shown in humanity's first space battle. "Send word to all ships. Operation Thunder's role begins now. Show them what happens when you underestimate humanity." Throughout the solar system, defense platforms activated. Hidden missile bases emerged from crater shadows on Mars. Jupiter's moons revealed concealed shipyards. Every piece of human ingenuity and determination, combined with alien technology and expertise, prepared for war. The Thunder's Echo's engines glowed as final preparations were made. Its crew, a mix of humans and their new allies, took their stations. On its hull, beneath the name, was painted the ship's motto, "They called us primitive." As the Alliance fleet began emerging from their portals, they found not one human warship, but hundreds. Not a primitive species, but an alliance of races they had oppressed. Not a simple battle, but a revolution that would reshape the galaxy. The Thunder had shown humanity could fight. Now its Echo would show them how to win. Space itself trembled as 2 massive fleets faced each other in the void between Mars and Jupiter. The Alliance Armada emerged from their quantum portals in perfect formation, 10,000 ships strong, the largest fleet they had assembled in a millennium. Their hulls gleamed with energy weapons, their shields forming an impenetrable wall of light. Facing them was the combined fleet of the Centauri Alliance, led by the Thunder's Echo. Unlike the uniform Alliance vessels, this fleet was diverse: sleek human warships, organic Verdani cruisers, crystalline fighters, and ghostly nebulan destroyers. Each ship represented a species that had refused to bow to Alliance dominance. Admiral Kane stood on the Echo's bridge, studying the enemy fleet. The ship's advanced systems, combining technology from all 4 allied species, hummed with power around him. "All ships report ready," Lisa announced from her station. "The Thunder's tactical data has been distributed throughout the fleet. Everyone knows their role." Kane opened a channel to all ships. 6 months ago, one human warship showed the galaxy that determination matters more than technological superiority. The Thunder died to give us this chance. Now we show them what their sacrifice meant. The Alliance fleet moved first, their energy weapons lighting up space like artificial stars. But this time, they faced ships designed to counter their tactics. The Centauri fleet split into smaller groups, using the Thunder's successful strategies on a massive scale. Human railguns combined with crystallite focusing crystals launched hypervelocity rounds that shattered Alliance shields. Verdani organic technology regenerated damaged hulls while Nebulan ships phased through enemy fire to deliver devastating close-range strikes. "They're trying to adapt," reported the tactical officer. "But their rigid command structure can't keep up with our independent squadron tactics." Kane nodded. The Alliance fleet fought as one massive unit, following centralized commands. The Centauri forces fought as hundreds of small, autonomous groups, each adapting and innovating in real time, a fighting style that humans had perfected over centuries of warfare. The Thunder's Echo led a decisive charge straight through the enemy's center. Its advanced shields, reinforced by lessons learned from its predecessor's final battle, shrugged off incoming fire. Its weapons, combining the best of 4 species technology, tore through Alliance defenses. "Their flagship is targeting us," Lisa warned. "Energy readings off the scale." "Good," Kane replied. "Show them what humans learned from the Thunder's last stand." As the Alliance flagship fired its main weapon, the Echo executed a perfect roll, the same maneuver that the Thunder had used in its final battle. But this time, the human ship wasn't alone. Dozens of Allied vessels struck from multiple angles, their combined firepower overwhelming the flagship's defenses. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Alliance fleet, for all its technological superiority, couldn't match the innovative tactics and combined technologies of their supposedly primitive opponents. Ship by ship, squadron by squadron, their formation crumbled. Finally, the Alliance commander opened a channel. His face showed something new: respect. We surrender. Your species, all your species, have proven yourselves worthy." Kane's response was firm. "Worthy? We always were. The Thunder proved that. We don't need your approval, we demand your recognition. The era of Alliance dominance is over." In the aftermath, as rescue ships from both sides tended to survivors, the galaxy's balance of power had shifted forever. The Alliance Council was reformed, with representatives from Earth and their allies given equal standing. The term "primitive species" was banned from diplomatic language. The Thunder's Echo remained in service, patrolling the stars as a reminder of how one human warship had changed everything. Its story was taught in schools across the galaxy, how humanity's first interstellar warship had sacrificed everything to prove that determination and innovation could overcome any technological gap. In the shipyards of Earth, the next generation of vessels took shape, each bearing the lightning bolt emblem of the Thunder. But they were no longer built for war. These ships carried scientists, diplomats, and explorers, humans and aliens working together to forge a better future. The galaxy had learned its lesson: never underestimate a species that fights not just with technology, but with heart, determination, and the will to prove themselves among the stars.